I hope that you're having a wonderful July and that you are hopefully managing these energies smoothly. I know there has been so much going on energetically, cosmically, astrologically, and it's a lot. We're moving through a lot right now, and so I just wanted to share a quick energy update in terms of all of the energy that we've been moving through. So hi, Sunita from London. Hello. If you want to introduce yourself in the chat, in the comments, let me know where you're tuning in from. I always love to see where all of you alchemists are based. And so one of the biggest misconceptions that we sometimes have around energy and portals, it's, for example, we just had the new moon on Monday, Moon Day, and we think just because new moon day happened on Monday, today it's Wednesday and we're no longer feeling that energy. Well, every full moon and every new moon lingers for 3 days before and after. And that's the same case for portals as well. So when we think about the 777 portal that we had last Friday, that energy is still actually active because of the Sirius gateway, which is still active right now. So you may have a heightened vivid imagery in your dreams. You may have been receiving more information in your dreams and your meditations because there are so many astrological and cosmic events happening right now, which is making the veil between the dimensions. The second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth dimension are separated by space and time. Those are the two constructs that are sort of like the doors between the dimensions. But when these portals happen, it's like they're keys to those doors, and so you can get access to other dimensions much easily. And so we're still feeling the effects of the 7-7 portal, the Sirian gateway as well, and we just had the lunar nodes shift on Moon Day, same day as new moon. And so there's a lot of karmic energy rising up to the surface because of this shift in the lunar nodes, which are predominantly focused on our karma collectively and individually. And what is coming up right now, you may have already noticed it, but it's not just this karmic patterns, but specifically connecting to karmic relationships showing up. Karmic relationships are not necessarily secluded or limited to romantic relationships. Karmic relationships can be relationships with our family, with co-workers, with strangers even. Yes, we do sometimes have karmic ties to strangers. And on Friday, July 22nd, Venus goes retrograde, and Venus goes retrograde in a fire sign, Leo, the big lion. The day after, Chiron goes retrograde in Aries. So this week is like literally new moon, lunar node shifting, karmic energy. Friday, then it's followed by Venus, which Venus is the planet that governs our values, our sense of beauty, our finances, our relationships, and our creativity. And then on Saturday, July 23rd, Chiron goes retrograde, and Chiron is known as the wounded healer. And we have all of these cosmic events, and so that's why right now you may be seeing a lot of things in your relationships shifting. You may be noticing a lot of your emotions or maybe subconscious fears rising up to the surface, and it's just because a lot of this energy that's external in our environment, it's not like we're at the mercy of that. A lot of people think like, oh, it's Venus retrograde, it's Mercury retrograde, it's gonna come and bring my toxic ex back into my life, or it's going to ruin this thing in my life and make my life more difficult. No, you are not at the mercy of these astrological and cosmic events. They are not governing you, they are not ruling you, they are not controlling you. Instead, they are influencing you subconsciously and energetically. So that's something we all have to take our power back, right? Because let's face it, a lot of the time we're like, oh, it's this thing's fault, but it's never our fault, right? and that's fine, but it's also us giving our power away when we do that. And what we have to start to do now is call back more of our power. Instead of giving our power away to other people, to astrological events, for example, it's like about how can I actually work with this in an empowering way? How is this influencing me, and how can I better prepare myself so that I have a smooth experience with this event that's about to come? So the way that I like to explain astrology and cosmic energy and weather is think about the weather outside. Like for me, it's super bright and sunny out. There are no clouds, so obviously I'm gonna wear a hat. I'm gonna wear coconut oil for sunscreen. Yeah, I bet you did. You might not have known that you can use coconut oil as sunscreen because it's natural. Use organic coconut oil, and you put on some sunglasses, right? You'll wear some like clothing, so you're preparing for that weather, right? Because if we go outside and we're not prepared for hot weather, we can end up getting dehydrated, getting sick, etc., etc. And so it's the same thing with these cosmic events and astrological events. You have to work with them in a way that empowers you, that you're not giving away your power. And so one of the ways to do that is to understand what are the possible themes that will arise for you. And a great way to do this is to self-reflect on the patterns that you've seen in the past within this specific retrogrades. Like for example, a lot of these planets go retrograde every single year, once a year. And you will notice specific patterns showing up in your life. Like that's why, for example, when we say, oh, our electronics are messed up, it must be Mercury retrograde, because we're familiar that Mercury retrograde governs technology. And so what do we do to prepare for that? We back up our data on our devices, right? And so keep a journal so you can keep track of these patterns that happen for you specifically. Because all of us, we have different birth charts, and the way that we interact with these planets are unique to us specifically. Yes, the best way to sort of understand how cosmic bodies work is if you look at them as, it's not like a rock, a giant ass rock floating and flying through space thousands of miles per hour. No, it's actually a living consciousness. These planets, in a sense, they are living beings, and they do have a consciousness, and that's what we're interacting with, right? So we have our own consciousness, and it's how can we harmonize our two consciousness together so that we can learn and benefit from these retrograde periods, and not be at their mercy or experience difficulties, tension, challenges when these retrogrades do happen. And so, for example, with Venus, if you were to connect with Venus energy, you would feel that in your heart, you would feel it in your throat, you would feel it in the back of your head. And so the Venus energy, it's a very magnetic energy. Most people refer to that as divine feminine energy. And the Venus energy, it's connected to our creativity, our love, our sense of love, not just romantically, but our sense of love across the board. So all relationships, not just romantic relationships. It's also connected to our sense of finances and values and what we find beautiful in this world, like a beautiful song or a piece of art. And it's also connected to our values. So right now, pay attention. What are the imbalances that you're seeing rising up to the surface regarding your finances, your relationships, your creativity? Do you have like a creative block? Does it always happen 1 week before Venus retrograde? And that's why it's important to sort of write things down, because it just helps you to keep track so you can better prepare for 2025 Venus retrograde. And so these are some ways that you can work with this energy in more empowering ways. And what's really fascinating about this Venus retrograde in particular is that it is happening within 4 days of the lunar nodes shifting. So the lunar nodes are connected to karmic energy, and because Venus is connected to our relationships, we're going to see these two energies likely sort of team up, right? And then try to teach us some things about our relationships. What are specific karmic relationships that we need to bring balance to? What are karmic relationships that we need to restore or to release once and for all? And so this is what's going to be rising up to the surface. And again, you'll see this week, you will see it next week, because and you'll see it for the ongoing months, but most prevalently it will show up a week before and a week after these planets actually move retrograde. And what's fascinating about this Venus retrograde is that it's happening in Leo. So Leo is this fire sign, and so we have this fire intensity coming up. So this is a wonderful time for you to work with fire alchemy. And one of the biggest misconceptions is like you cut the cords, but you have to understand that cutting the cords will just allow them to grow them back. You actually have to burn the cords. And when we're burning the cords, we're not burning them out of anger or like, you know, because we're pissed, we're gonna burn this relationship cord off. No, you're burning it from a space of empowerment, from a space of love. You're just burning the cord, you're not burning the person. You're releasing that relationship from a space of empowerment, letting go of that relationship, but burning the cord so it doesn't grow back. And again, this is again one of those nuances, right? All you gotta do is get the right little tweaks into your practices so that you can see the long-term benefits of this. And the day after Venus retrograde, we have Chiron going retrograde in Aries, which is another intense fire sign. So we have this double fire energy coming up to the surface, which may mean that you will likely potentially, right, the environment is there for you to be irritated, more likely frustrated, angry. So be mindful when you are communicating with people this week, especially towards the end of the week and early next week, because we don't want to pop off on people because, you know, of our internal state. And that's why one of the biggest things I always talk about is meditation. Meditation has the power for you to call back your energy and not be responsive, reactive to things outside of you, but rather how can you bring all of your energy, awareness, and power back into yourself so that you're in a better position to respond and interact with people, with situations in your life. So this is a wonderful time for you to meditate. I have some free meditations on my YouTube channel. If you want to go check them out, just type in IamSolTara on YouTube, and then you'll see a bunch of meditations on there. But yeah, I'm curious to hear how you're all feeling this energy. I know it's a lot that we're moving through, especially as empaths, especially with everything that's happening in our world as well, because you have to understand with the lunar nodes shifting, it is a collective karmic cycle that we're entering now. And so the nodes have shifted, and so collectively we are entering a new 18-month-old cycle. So right now there's a lot of karmic collectively rising up to the surface. I mean, we've seen a lot of cases that regarding child sex trafficking finally coming up to the surface. God knows how long that needed to come to the surface, but now it's like, okay, we're ready to end this karma that we've been pushing away as a collective, right? And so one of the things about, you know, being sensitive to energy, being an empath, and being able to feel all of these things from people around us, and even, you know, from the collective that we don't even know, is that you have to manage your energy. It's a lot that we're moving through, but it's your responsibility to manage your energy. Only you can do that. And one of the best ways to do that is, again, to like call all your energy back to you when you wake up, at night as well. You know, it's a daily energy hygiene practice that you can't sleep on. You have to continuously do this so that you can remain clear, grounded, centered, aligned. That way you're living your life with more peace, with more grace, even when all of these astrological things are happening, cosmic things, collective things happening. That is super, super important. And I'm just gonna read the chat real quick. We can use the violet flame to burn the cord. Yes, that's one way to do it. I have been so emotional, sad, angry, happy, can't get out of my head. So I would love to know how to burn the cord, yeah, just go to my YouTube channel. There's some meditations for that. I'm moving into a new house today and tomorrow. What do these retrograde mean for what do you think, please? So I explained what the retrogrades meant. So if you want to go back to watch this, that will go more in depth in terms of like what the specific retrogrades mean. And actually, I guess I didn't talk about the Chiron retrograde. You know, I was focusing so much on the Venus retrograde, but the Chiron retrograde happens this Saturday. And so Chiron is our wounded aspect of ourselves. So think about what are the things that make you feel like you're not enough, or like your voice doesn't matter, or that everything's your fault. Think about like what are the wounds inside of you, and people, events, situations are going to start coming up to trigger those feelings, and it's actually a wonderful opportunity. I know it sucks in the moment, but it's a wonderful opportunity for awareness and for healing, because once you integrate your wounds, once you sit with your wounds and integrate them, you realize how they're actually your superpower, and there are gifts inside of them. There's wisdom, there's power there that you will use them in your life. And it's so crazy how life works, and how all of these, I guess, traumatic experiences, wounds, unpleasant experiences are actually going to support you in the work that you're meant to do in this life. But one of the most important things to do is like to sit with those wounds, especially because, again, Venus is all about the heart space, and Chiron is also all about the heart space. And so our hearts are going to be very vulnerable. I mean, we just had a Cancer new moon. It was a Cancer new moon in Vedic astrology and in tropical astrology. And so this vulnerability around the heart, it's like our hearts are wide open right now. And it's a very sometimes uncomfortable space to be. But the more that you can be here and hold space for your heart, for your emotions, for your experiences, the more information will show up for you. So definitely take some time to meditate with your heart space. Let me see the chat. In terms of the move, what do they mean? Depends who you're moving with, I would say. Also, where you're moving to as well, because if you're familiar with Astro Cartography is the art of like using astrology with geography. So yes, you have a birth chart, but if you put your birth chart on the globe across the world, there, let's just say New Jersey is where your Jupiter line crosses, and that's a wonderful place for you to go to have success, to have luck, to receive a lot of wisdom, right? The characteristics connected to Jupiter. And let's say your Venus line runs through Rome, and so that's likely a place where your relationships will blossom. And so you see, there's so many tools out there that we can work with to just live our lives in a more peaceful way. And yeah, you know, you just gotta look for all of these things and look at one of the things that is really going to be helpful for us is if we like not remain attached to certain scenarios or relationships or projects, but if you can take a bird's eye view and pull yourself back, again, detach. And one of the ways to do this is through meditation. You will be able to see, oh, I can actually use all of these other resources or all of this other creative ideas to bring more life force into this project, relationship, whatever it is. So yeah, pull yourself out so that you can get the bigger picture and then receive more information from other realms as well, because again, the veil between the dimensions is super thin right now. So it's 11:52 and I have to go because we have an Alchemy Academy call at 12. And today in the Alchemy Academy, because Venus is going retrograde, we're actually going to astral project Venus so that we can harmonize our energy field with Venus. Because yes, we were born at one specific time, day, and place in this incarnation, but your soul has incarnated several times on Earth, which means that you have multiple birth charts. And so that's why one of the techniques that we use use to harmonize our relationship with the retrogrades and cosmic astrological energy is we connect with these planets. We actually go to these planets via astral projection, and we practice alchemy so that we harmonize our relationship with these planets. Because remember, they are living beings. They're consciousness, living consciousness. And so we're going to be doing that and infusing ourselves with like all of the creativity and harmony that the high expression of Venus offers us. And so if you are interested in working with astrology in a deeper way to really develop a closer understanding, deeper understanding with the planets, so that you are not being affected by them so much during these retrograde periods, etc. And if you're interested overall in learning how to practice advanced alchemy, again, so that you master your internal energy. Once you master your internal energy, you can affect external energy, and that's why we practice high magic. But it all starts from within. So in the academy, we do a lot of inner work. We have specific practices to connect with your inner child, to heal your inner child, to heal your timelines, to practice shadow work, to master your emotions, to master your mind. And then I teach you how to channel, how to work with the fire keepers, the earth guardians, and all these things. So if that's something that resonates with you, I want to invite you to check out the Alchemy Academy via the link in my bio. Enrollment does end this Friday, so I would make sure you check it out sooner rather than later, because we are ending enrollment on Friday, and we only open enrollment 3 times a year. So if that's something that resonates with you, you can get more information in the link in my bio. And I am wishing you such a harmonious, expansive, and nourishing Venus retrograde, Chiron retrograde, and a wonderful rest of the end of July for you. And be gentle with yourself. Sending you so much love. Bye.